she who sleeps beneath. Hello everyone. I hope this new bedtime story is able to aid in your sweet dreams tonight. Play this in the background while your consciousness slowly drifts off. If you enjoy content like this, remember to like and subscribe. The rain started softly as they arrived in Finlow. Talia leaned against the car window, watching droplets gather and race downward in slow, uneven lines. The village was quiet, wrapped in fog that settled in folds like old linen. Her mother's voice broke the silence only once. He left everything to you, the cottage and the greenhouse. A rusted key was passed from hand to hand, its weight heavier than expected. Black thread wound tightly around its handle. Her mother didn't speak again. The cottage sat on a slope, roof sagging, windows dust-fogged. Behind it, the greenhouse, low, wide, wrapped in ivy so thick it pulsed with green. She felt it immediately. Not fear, recognition. The first night, the key whispered as she slept. Not words, just shape, echo, the sense of something ancient curling near her cheek. She dreamed of vines threading through her bedroom ceiling. In the dream, they weren't searching, they were listening. She woke with the key resting on her pillow. Morning brought silence. Her mother brewed bitter tea and read newspapers she didn't unfold. Talia wandered past the garden gate, through wet grass, and stopped before the greenhouse. It leaned. It breathed. She opened it with the key. The door resisted, then yielded with a sigh. Inside was heat, soft and sticky. Rows of plants lined narrow tables, ferns, herbs, pale blooms that swayed despite still air. At the far end, behind a trellis webbed with bone-thin vines, hung a dark the color of old skin. She stepped closer. A single whisper rose from beneath the dark, soft as the stem of a name. Not yet. She ran, closing the door behind her, but not all the way. That evening she searched the study for clues. Books filled with brittle leaves, dust-thick journals bound in twine. One in particular, docked behind a jar of dried mint, bore her uncle's name. The pages were covered in jagged script. She needs warmth, soil, memory. Names make her stronger. Grief is root water. Between two pages lay a pressed petal. It pulsed when touched. The rain grew heavier. Windows wept quietly. That night, her mother fell asleep early. Talia wandered to the greenhouse. She didn't open the door, only pressed her ear against the glass. Inside was rustling, slow, rhythmic, like breathing. She returned to the journal. never speak to her, only listen. She becomes what you've lost. Talia blinked slowly. Her reflection in the window stared back, slightly delayed. The third morning came with birdsong. Muted. Wrong. She approached the greenhouse again. The door had cracked open overnight. Vines trailed across the entryway like fingers. Inside, warmth, rot. The tarp had shifted. Soil was exposed. Something pale rose from it. Not a stem, not a root. A hand. Leaf-skinned, bone-thin, reaching. Talia stepped forward despite herself. The hand brushed her ankle. It was cold. She fled again, but the garden followed. Vines crept across the cottage walls. The mirror in her bedroom showed a reflection that didn't match. Her eyes too dark, her mouth not closed. She locked the door. It didn't help. That night, she dreamed of her mother's voice, not speaking, weeping. The plants in the greenhouse leaned toward her name. The journal's final pages revealed a pattern. Entries became desperate, messy. She heard me grieve. I fed her too many names. Memory is her root. I cannot forget. One page was torn, its edges blackened. Talia pressed her finger against the void and felt a heartbeat. The next morning, her mother was gone. The car sat empty. The front door stood ajar. Talia traced muddy footprints from the cottage to the greenhouse. They stopped at the gate. Inside, the soil glowed faintly. The vines hummed. She stepped through one last time. Her voice was steady. I remember. The plants leaned forward. The soil stirred. Petals unfurled slowly from the shape in the earth. Not one bloom, but two, a mirror. Her mother's face and hers, curled in repose, sleeping. A whisper arose. Grief watered me well. The greenhouse locked behind her. The key turned of its own accord. Outside, the rain stopped. Inside, the garden grew. Her uncle's journals decayed to mulch. The cottage wilted into ivy. Only the greenhouse remained. Every night it glowed, waiting, listening. Sleep well, little root. Let the soil keep your name.